This is why you're scared to get into a fight or scared to fight in general. Let me tell you why. I'm not going to give you a long intro. The reason why you're scared to fight or get into a fight is because you do not get into fights often. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because I get hundreds of DMs telling me, listen, EK, I'm scared to fight. What do I do? Listen to me right now. The reason why you're scared to fight is because you do not practice and train. When I say scared to fight, I'm not talking about street fights. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fighting in general, fighting sports, martial arts, boxing, UFC, kickboxing, MMA, whatever it is. The reason why you are scared is because you have not trained enough. For example, if I was to compete in a 100-meter race versus good racers, and I haven't raced ever in my life, obviously I'm going to have the fear that I'm going to lose. Why? It's because I have not trained in sprinting ever. But if I was to fight, for example, with boxers and compete, I wouldn't be as scared because obviously I've got experience in that sport. So whatever you're more experienced in whatever sport or whatever it is in life, obviously you're going to have less fear to do it because it's your skill. So what I'm trying to tell you guys is the people that message me every day, listen, how do I fight? How do I fight without fear? The only way is by training often. The more you train and the more you practice something, the less scared you are to do it and the more confident you actually get and become when you want to do it. But let's take this in terms of fighting in boxing, for example, or MMA. The one advice I would give you is, if you really want to remove that fear and become confident, shadow boxing isn't going to help you. Hitting the bag isn't going to help you. Yeah, cool, it's going to give you some sort of confidence. But the real confidence and the real reducing of fear and gaining that big confidence comes from sparring. Why? Because sparring is the closest you're going to get in a martial arts to a fight. Sparring is going to be the closest thing you could do to get into a fight. Why? Is because you are fighting another man. If you're a woman, it's going to obviously be another woman. But when you're fighting another person, it's the closest thing to a fight. So obviously, that's why some people are scared to get into spars, because it reminds them of being into a fight. And especially if they've never been in sparring before, it's going to be scary, which is a normal thing. But the more you spar, the more less scared you are going to be when it comes to sparring again after that. For example, back when I used to do boxing a couple of years ago, I used to be scared to spar when I hadn't sparred for about a month. The reason is because I know in that month's time, the other fighters have obviously gained more experience and I haven't. Then when I go back to sparring, I'm like, rah, I'm scared because I know this guy's going to beat me up. Well, this is back then. But when you spar often, let's say 3 times a week, you get into that rhythm and you're less scared. You actually get excited to spar. That's why when you see people say on TikTok and stuff, yeah, I'm excited to spar, it's because they spar often. Bro, I love sparring now because obviously when you spar often, you get more good at it, you get more confident at it, and it actually becomes a passion. But when you do something half-heartedly, it becomes a fear to do it and not a confidence thing. So make sure you spar as often as possible if you want to reduce your fear, bro. And another thing is, you actually need to lose sometimes, bro. You need to lose to learn. Listen, some of you guys take losing as an L, but you need to take it as a lesson, bro, because when you lose, you actually need to learn what made you lose. And that thing is going to make you win next time, or give you a higher chance of winning, because you don't become great at something without failing in it. I don't believe anyone becomes great at something without failing multiple times. Yeah, cool, you can say, yeah, Floyd Mayweather 50-0 record. Okay, cool, but you're telling me he never lost a spar in his life? Of course he did, bro. The reason why he's so good is because he failed a lot to get to the point where he's at. So I'm trying to tell you is, make sure you make mistakes. No, I'm not saying intentionally make mistakes, but when you do make mistakes, don't get, heartbroken about it. Take a lesson from it and learn from it, because it's going to give you confidence. It's going to make you learn how to obviously conquer that skill now, how to do better than before, and how to fight better after. Don't make me shout at this camera at you, bro. But listen, man, spar as often as possible and train as hard as possible, because that's what's going to remove the fear from you. And don't get yourself into street fights thinking it's going to give you confidence, because it's not. You're going to get your ass beat. Anyways, man, home boxing program down below. We're going to hit 100K members this year. Stay safe, you lot.